Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Chris Gaisford, and in this video we're going to be talking about the Nest integration to Home Assistant. And I didn't even know this was possible. I knew it was like back in the day, but then Google changed some of their APIs and stuff, and then everything broke, and then Nest and Home Assistant really didn't talk to each other at all. But recently I've heard that the Google Nest can now be tied into Home Assistant again. And I know there's 1,000 reasons to be excited about this integration, but let me tell you about a few of the reasons why I'm excited about it. And I mean, sure, it sounds like there's some sort of setup fee that I haven't quite looked into yet, but we'll take a look at that later in the video. About $5 I was hearing for the API setup, and sure, that is a little bit of a bummer and kind of takes away from being able to just tie in all your devices seamlessly for free with the Home Assistant. But a few of the reasons I am excited for this is, one, when people think of like smart home technology, the first thing they really think of is a smart thermostat. And the main reason of that is it can sense when you're at home or when you're not at home, and you can change it when you're not at home to either be on or off and stuff like that. So I know with a lot of people that aren't in the smart home realm, some of the like smart home technologies they do have is a smart thermostat. So the fact that this integration does exist inside of Home Assistant really is going to be like one of the first few integrations that people actually are probably going to want to tie into. I mean, I don't know the exact statistics for it, but I am pretty sure Google Nest is one of the most popular smart thermostats. I mean, I have a bunch of family members that aren't into smart home automation or anything like that, but they still have the Google Nest. And the main reason for that is because it's a way that they can control it from their phone, and it's Google. It's a very known, safe company, and so like seeing integrations like between Google and Home Assistant or some of these other major brands is something that I think a lot of people are going to look for if they're trying to get into this realm, or if they want a way to smartly control their thermostat. Plus, on top of that, I mean, just being able to automatically control your thermostat based off temperature sensors and stuff like that that aren't Nest branded, that's really exciting. And I mean, come on, home automation is just cool. So let's go ahead and take a look at this integration. Alright, so let's go ahead and hop over to the Nest documentation on Home Assistant's website and go ahead and see what we have to do. That they're actually calling the old API the SDM API, and then there's the new primary API. And so when I talked about earlier where it used to work, if you were one of those lucky people that actually set up your Nest back in the day, it's still going to work for you. New users like me that have never used the Nest API, we can't actually sign up that way anymore. So going forward, it's only the new primary API, which is going to be covered in this video. So let's go ahead and see what we actually get through this API. So we get the thermostat devices, we get all the display, camera, and doorbell devices, we get the temperature sensors, the humidity sensors, basically anything that ties into the thermostat or the climate section of the Google Nest stuff. You'll have access to that, or anything that goes into their displays, their cameras, or their doorbells, anything like that you'll have access to as well. So there is, like I did mention, a $5 setup fee here. So that is something to be aware about. So let's go ahead and just get started. And I don't know how much of this I'll actually be able to show you with my own Google account, but I will show you as much as I can to hopefully make sure you guys don't get lost in the process. So we're going to go ahead and click on Device Access Registration here, and we're actually just going to open it up in a new tab here. Okay, and I'm already logged into my Google account, so we don't have to worry about logging in, but let's go ahead and click on Go to the Device Access Console. Alright, and so this is where you have to agree and give up the $5. So we'll go ahead and hit agree here and continue to payment. Alright, and so it's asking me if it wants to use my credit card on file with my Google account. I'm just going to go ahead and say yes, bye. Alright, and it looks like that payment was successful. And so we're going to go ahead and create a new project here, and it wants a name, so we're going to go ahead and call it Chris Home Assistant, because my name is Chris, and there we go. And now it says it uses a Google API OAuth 2. So let's go ahead and take a quick look back at that documentation and see what they want us to do here. Alright, so now we actually have to go to the Google API console. And so if you've never played with the Google API console, it gives you APIs for like YouTube and all that sort of fun, exciting stuff. So it's out of the scope of this video, but we're going to need to go there to get an OAuth client ID. So we're going to go ahead and open up that in a new tab here as well. And as you can see, it's probably all blurred out though, but I've definitely used a lot of these things before. I use it for different types of integrations I've done in the past. Some of them are old and expired, but it's definitely something if you do a lot of things with Google and you're trying to tie things in and out of, you'll use it a lot. So, but what we need to do is we need to create some new credentials. So we're going to go ahead and click on create credentials, and we want to do this OAuth client ID here. So we'll go ahead and open that up, and then, so we need to go ahead and configure consent, and let's see here, yep. And so this type of integration, as you can see by the documentation, should be external, and that's because we're going to be using this API outside of the Google realm and with our own third-party software. So we're going to go ahead and say external here, and then we're going to hit create. And then there's going to be stuff asking about a project, some blah, 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 blah. The most important one here is a user support email. You're just going to select your email there. I mean, typically, if this is like the Google app realm of things, so that's the reason they have the emails for support. But obviously, you're the only one supporting your Home Assistant, I would imagine, so nobody should be contacting you at this address. Alright, so now the next few things we have to fill out, or we're just going to go ahead and fill out all the required stuff. So if you scroll down a bit, you can see here we have our developer contact information. It's the only other one, and you can see they're pulling some of my domains from other projects I've tried to use before. I have no reason to change this. I don't know if it's going to affect anything, but I'm going to go ahead and leave them as is for now. But you might not see these types of projects on yours. So it's going to ask for the email address. We'll go ahead and hit save and continue here. Okay. And so now we're on scopes. And we don't actually have to do anything here, which is super easy for us, right? So all we have to do is come down to the bottom and hit save and continue. Alright, then on this optional info screen, we don't have to do anything either, so we're just going to hit save and continue again. It's just going to go ahead and give us all of that information again. Scroll down to the bottom, and we're going to go to this test users section. So go ahead and press edit there. Okay, so it looks like this part is required by the documentation. It's not letting me edit or play with it though. So if you run into that problem, just go back to dashboard. It's going to take you into here, and now you have the test users again, where we can actually add a user. And go ahead and throw in your Google account email here. I'm going to go ahead and blur it out because that's my Google account. So, all right. So now that we've added a test user, we can now move forward with this project. And the thing we need to do is actually publish the app. It sounds a lot scarier and weirder than it actually is, but up here at the top under this main page that we're now on, by clicking back to dashboard, we have this publish app button right here. So we're going to go ahead and click on that, and then it says push to production. We're going to go ahead and press confirm. Okay, and so now we have this production app here. Okay, and so now that we've done that, we could actually move forward with getting that OAuth ID for the Home Assistant stuff. So if we go back to credentials here on the left and go back to that create credentials, we're going to go to the OAuth client ID, application type. It's going to be a web application. Go ahead and name it here just so you know what it is in the future. We're going to go ahead and say Home Assistant Nest. Okay, and then here we actually have to authorize our Home Assistant to access the Nest integration. So if we just click add URL right here, okay, and then what you're going to do is you're going to paste in your Home Assistant URL here, And then what you're going to do is you're going to add auth external callback to the end of that URL. Let's just go ahead and copy this entire guy here and paste. And obviously this isn't going to work for me, but I'm going to go ahead and put my URL in there and then just hit create here, and we will be going from there. Alright, then you're going to get a pop-up that looks something similar like this. I've blurred out some of the information there, but do not worry. So now we could take that client ID, it's going to be this top one here, copy that, come over to our device access stuff and paste it in here and then hit next. Okay, and so now it's asking about events. Let's see what it says. We want those to be enabled, so we're going to go ahead and enable those. Okay, and here we go. We have my Chris Home Assistant project. And I know that all seems crazy, but bear with me, take a deep breath. There's still more to do. So, alright, so now we need to go back into our Google Cloud Console. So if you're following along with the documentation with me, we're just going to right click and open this in a new tab. And it should just take us back to one of the pages we were on before. This time it's going to be our dashboard here. Then we're just going to click on Enable APIs and Services up here at the top. And we just need to make sure our smart home, oh, there we go, smart, blah, 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 blah. Our smart device management API is turned on. As you see right now, it's not enabled, so we're gonna go ahead and enable that. Okay, and so that has now been enabled. Cool. And so that's the first half of the setup. So next we have publish and subscriber setup stuff. Again, make sure you're following along with the documentation. So now we need a vision. So the reason we need to do this is so that way once things happen with our Google Nest products or our thermostat, our Home Assistant will see those events in basically real time. It will actually reach out to the API or hitting or connecting to our Home Assistant and tell it, hey, there's been an update. So it's important that we go through all these steps. So we're going to go ahead and click on this guy and open this up in a new tab again. I know our tabs are getting a bit out of control, but we could actually start to close out of some of these. Hey guys, it's future me. I'm just editing the video, and I know I just closed out of all the tabs, but do not do this unless you are storing those client IDs, project IDs, client secrets, all that fun stuff somewhere hidden away. Whether it's straight into your secrets.yaml file inside of Home Assistant, or you're storing them into a text file just for now, just make sure you're not closing those tabs without actually saving those variables or those authentication tokens, just because if you just close out of those tabs right now, you're gonna have a rough time later on. You'll basically have to start over to get new keys generated. And we just need to go ahead and enable. Alright, so it says manage, so it looks like it's already enabled, so we'll click on manage there, up and click enable. So it looks like it's already been enabled for me at least, so we should be good. Now go back to and click create subscription. Okay, so we're going to open this in the new tab. Back in here, subscriptions. Okay, and we're going to create a subscription. And the subscription ID, it looks like this could be pretty custom. So again, we're going to say Home Assistant Nest here. Alright, so we have a subscription ID here. Go ahead and fill out the subtopic stuff. I just created a new topic and called it Nest. So that should be pretty easy. I actually had some problems getting this integration to work because I did not read the instructions close enough. So here on step 4, make sure you are reading and double checking your work. You're going to need to go to the device access console, and you're going to want to copy this path right here. And then underneath your subscription, you're going to want to paste that right there. And I know that's kind of crazy and doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but trust me, it just needs to be that way or it will not work. So definitely give that a go if you're having some issues. Make sure it's set to pull. Alright, so now the next thing we want to do is we want to set up our message retention. We're going to go ahead and set that to something a lot shorter than days. Let's go ahead and just set it to 10 minutes. That should be fine. And then from here, we'll just leave everything else to the default. But we're just going to have to scroll down to the very bottom and hit create. Okay, and now we're actually ready to start adding our Nest into our Home Assistant after all that time. Okay, so what we're going to do is we have an example of our configuration right here. We're just going to go ahead and copy that, and then we'll hop over to our Home Assistant, and you can see we're just here on the main screen. We're going to go ahead to our file editor. Alright, and then just down here at the bottom to keep things clean, we're just going to go ahead and paste in that right there. And so we can actually see it's already given us a client ID, client secret, project ID. I'm going to go ahead and turn those into secrets. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that secret text right there. And we're just going to paste that there. Client ID here. So now we need to actually go create these, and I have an entire video on secrets, so go watch that if you have any questions on secrets. But I'm going to go ahead and update my Nest client ID and my client secret with the ones that we had from that one screen, and then I'll put my project ID from the other screen. Alright, so I got those 4 things added to my secrets, so we should be good to go. For you to actually get changes from your configuration file inside of Home Assistant, you do have to reboot your little Raspberry Pi. You could do that by just going to the configuration, server management, and reboot. I will be back and I will show you guys kind of the integration and that side of things after that is all set and done. And then once you reboot, you should be good to go for the Nest integration. So we'll hop over to our configuration, go to our integrations, add new integration, and then go ahead and just search for and find the Nest integration. Once you click on that, it's going to open up a new tab, and it's going to have you select your Google account. So go ahead and click on your Google account there. Hopefully you just have the one, unless you're a weirdo like I am. And now we have to go ahead and allow all of this stuff, basically giving access to Home Assistant to Nest. From here, select your Google account again, and then it's going to go take you to this weird page. Yeah, Google hasn't verified the app, which is fine because it's our app. So go ahead and go to advanced and then click to go to our URL there. And then we have another pop-up asking us to hit allow here. If you click on it, basically it says you're trying to sell your soul to Google, so go ahead and press allow. And once you press allow here, we'll see a similar pop-up, and we'll actually see a third pop-up. Basically, you can never be too sure with Google. And then finally, we now should have that Nest integration into our Home Assistant. As soon as you press finish here, it's going to go ahead and pop up, and there we go. And you can currently see there are no devices, and that is because I set up it all wrong, and that was the whole point with double checking step 4, making sure things were configured right. And so after 40 minutes of trying to get everything working, I found out that was the problem, and we are actually able to move forward with the video. Alright, and it does look like my problem was with the topic name. I know there wasn't a whole lot between that last comment and this comment, but earlier in the video, you'll see me actually make the comment about step 4 and making sure you have the right topic name. That was my problem, so I had to go back and recreate my subscription and topic. I had to go through and re-add the secrets and make sure they were all correct. Now I'm going to go to my configuration, and go to server controls. I'm going to check my validation, all looks good, and we're going to restart. And because I've now followed the correct steps for step 4, where I needed to go check use the right topic name, hopefully everything will work now and things will be all happy and cheerful and great. There we go. So now when we go into the integrations, now that we've fixed that topic ID, we can now see that Nest has one device. And if we take a look, we have our hallway Google Nest thermostat. Crazy, I know. And if we actually take a look at that, we can see that the heating is currently 72. It's set to 70. Awesome. That makes me... Oh, that was such a process. If you're struggling with it, I understand why. That was insanely hard to do. Then before I go ahead and officially end out the video, I do want to say there is a nice Lovelace card for your thermostat that comes built in with the integration. I'll probably go ahead and throw a picture of it up here on the screen for you. And you know, I do want to address the part where I was talking about earlier and where I was talking about why I was excited about this integration and all that stuff. And you know, I am excited that there is a way to actually get your Nest into Home Assistant, but it is not very easy to do and it's very frustrating. And I mean, I have a lot of experience with the Google APIs and I've done a lot of things with them in the past, and even today trying to get that integration to work was still just a headache. So if you're a beginner and you're having a hard time with it, it's because it's not the easiest thing to do. And I know I talked about how this would be a good way to get people into Home Assistant by getting wide stream technologies into Home Assistant such as the Nest, but at the current state and how the integration currently works, it's just really hard to recommend. I mean, don't get me wrong, I am excited to have it in my Home Assistant and available for future home automations, and I'll definitely probably cover them in a separate video from this one. This video just took so much longer to film than I was anticipating, and I was planning on getting this video out on Monday. If you're seeing this, it's probably Tuesday or Wednesday, and I apologize. The video did take quite a while for me to film, and I'm gonna have to go through and edit and blur out a lot of it. So that's why when you're watching this on Tuesday or Wednesday or even in the future, I apologize for not getting it out sooner. But yeah, I do wish the integration was easier. It's not very beginner friendly, it's just FYI. Hopefully this video did give you some good tips and tricks. I mean, now you could be able to use it in your automations and stuff like that, but personally I have spent way too long trying to get this integration to work. Every time I have to do anything with like the Google, the Nest, anything to do with the Google APIs, I feel like I have to struggle a lot harder than I probably need to for some reason, and it is super frustrating. So if you do have any problems, put your comments down below. Let's see if we can all help each other get this worked out. I'm definitely not going to know everything, but I will try to answer your questions if you ask them. But yeah, there we go. It is. If this video helped you out, go ahead and hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're into home automation and want to see more of these videos. Hopefully it wasn't a total bore, but I think that's where I'm going to leave this video. I just need to walk away while I'm ahead. But thanks so much for watching, guys, and working on improving your smart home and giving me your time most of all. So